Green Goblin or Norman Osborn. The split personality dilemma. The conflict between Norman Osborn and the Green Goblin is one of the most iconic and psychologically charged dynamics in the Spider-Man universe. Beyond the physical confrontations and the legacy of terror that the Green Goblin imposes, there lies a deeply rooted struggle of identity, morality, and fractured psyche. This script explores the psychological underpinnings of Norman Osborn's transformation into the Green Goblin, the duality within his mind, and the tragic consequences of this inner conflict. Norman Osborn's origin as the Green Goblin is a tale of ambition gone awry. A brilliant scientist and ruthless businessman, Osborn embodies the archetype of the self-made man. Yet, beneath his success lies a cauldron of insecurities and moral compromises. His descent begins with the serum that was meant to enhance human abilities, a concoction of genius and madness. When Osborn tests the serum on himself, the results are catastrophic. The experiment doesn't merely enhance his physical and mental capabilities, it shatters his psyche. The Green Goblin emerges as a manifestation of Osborn's darkest desires, a persona that revels in chaos and destruction. The serum acts as a catalyst, unlocking a latent duality within Osborn that perhaps had always been there, lurking in the shadows of his ambition. At its core, the battle between Norman Osborn and the Green Goblin is a study of dissociative identity disorder, DID, and the blurred lines between sanity and insanity. While comic book narratives often dramatize mental health for storytelling purposes, the themes resonate deeply with real-world psychology. Norman Osborn as the rational self. Norman represents control, order, and societal acceptance. He's the face of Oscorp, a man driven by legacy and power. However, his rational side is tainted by a willingness to compromise ethics in pursuit of success. These moral fissures create fertile ground for the Green Goblin to take root. The Green Goblin as the ID unleashed. The Goblin is pure ID, unrestrained, impulsive, and destructive. He embodies everything Osborn suppresses: rage, envy, and a thirst for domination. The Goblin's sadistic nature is a direct contrast to Osborn's calculated demeanor, creating a dichotomy that is as fascinating as it is horrifying. The split between Osborn and the Goblin intensifies as their actions begin to conflict. Osborn's attempts to reclaim control are often met with the Goblin's mockery and defiance, turning his own mind into a battleground. The Goblin thrives on Osborn's fears and insecurities, using them as weapons to assert dominance. The Green Goblin's existence wreaks havoc not only on Norman Osborn, but also on those around him. This duality results in a trail of broken relationships, ruined lives, and personal torment. Osborn's son, Harry, becomes a victim of this inner war, grappling with the legacy of a father he alternately admires and despises. For Spider-Man, the Green Goblin represents a unique challenge. Unlike other villains, whose motivations are often external, the Goblin's vendetta is deeply personal. He targets Peter Parker's loved ones, exploiting his vulnerabilities to maximum effect. Yet, Peter's reluctance to destroy Norman stems from an understanding of his fractured psyche. Spider-Man's moral compass drives him to save Osborn from himself, even when the Goblin's actions demand retribution. Norman's struggle with his dual identity also reflects broader societal themes. It's a cautionary tale about unchecked ambition, the cost of power, and the thin line between genius and madness. The Green Goblin's emergence is not just a byproduct of science gone wrong, but also a reflection of the darker aspects of human nature. The story of Norman Osborn and the Green Goblin often ends in tragedy. Whether through death, imprisonment, or temporary amnesia, the resolution of this conflict rarely brings peace. Yet, the potential for redemption lingers as a recurring theme. Norman's moments of lucidity reveal a man burdened by guilt and remorse. He recognizes the destruction caused by the Goblin, but is often powerless to prevent it. These fleeting glimpses of humanity offer a stark contrast to the Goblin's malevolence and serve as a reminder of what Osborn could have been without his fractured psyche. In some iterations of the story, Norman attempts to atone for his actions, using his resources and intellect to make amends. However, these efforts are often overshadowed by the Goblin's inevitable resurgence, highlighting the cyclical nature of his internal conflict. The battle between Norman and the Green Goblin becomes a metaphor for the eternal struggle between good and evil within us all. The dilemma of Norman Osborn and the Green Goblin transcends the pages of Spider-Man * comics. It's a narrative that resonates with the complexities of human psychology and the universal struggle with inner demons. By exploring themes of identity, morality, and redemption, the story invites us to reflect on our own dualities and the choices that define us. In the end, Norman Osborn's tragedy lies not in his transformation into the Green Goblin, but in his inability to reconcile the two halves of his soul. As readers and viewers, we are left to ponder, is Norman Osborn a victim of circumstance, or is the Green Goblin the truest reflection of who he really is? This exploration of Norman Osborn and the Green Goblin's split personality offers not only a richer understanding of the character, but also a lens through which we can examine the fragile nature of identity and the enduring battle between our better angels and darker impulses.